this is my book share. I chose the title of my book is Night Flight, Amelia Earhart Crosses the Atlantic. On the left you will see the illustration of my book. You will also see in the middle of the page that the author is Robert Burleigh, and on the right you'll see the illustrator is Wendell Miner. The publication date of this book is 2011. The award it has won is the Amelia Bloomer Book List. This award is just saying it is a book to read or is a very enjoyable book. On the left hand side at the bottom I have included a link. It is basically a picture show of all the illustrations in the book. It has some music to go along with it. It is very enjoyable. This is the front and back cover of the book. You will see on the right side that is the front cover of the book that I've shown on the previous side. And then the left hand, it has a quote by Buzz Aldrin, the Apollo 11 astronaut. Basically just summarizing it, he remembers the year that Amelia flew in the Lockheed Vega, which is the same year that his father took him flying in the same plane. These are the end pages. It actually shows the trip that she has made from New Zealand to Ireland, where she crosses the Atlantic Ocean. And it shows the actual dates and times. The first one is May 20th, 1932. Amelia takes off at 7:12 p.m. And then when she gets there, it says May 21st, 1932. Amelia lands at 1:45 p.m. And I really like the quote on the side. It says, "I could not see, I carried on." This is the title page. You will see the illustration of Amelia, and it also has a quote from her. "To all my friends, both near and far, let me say you will hear from me in less than 15 hours. And that was her big statement because she did cross the Atlantic in less than 15 hours. This is introducing the beginning of the book. Just what time she took off, the weather, and how she said goodbye, and how she took off in the plane. This is her actually taking off. It describes the plane swoops like a swallow over dark puddles and patches of tundra. The shore gleams in the waning light. The waves are curled of cream-colored froth. The plane ascends higher and higher as the pounding surf turns noiseless below. Amelia Earhart lives for this moment to follow the wide horizon that never ends. This is her flying in the night. It just says the moon peeks between the wisp of shimmering clouds. Distant stars flicker and fade, and her mind soars. You can see her plane just going in the night, and I think it's a really interesting photo. Especially it highlights the description in the scenery. This is actually her crossing the ocean. But it's her talking about her personal thoughts, how she thinks, oh, it'll be over soon. But it's how she's alone in the night and flying, and just overall the whole experience. This is where she runs into a storm at midnight when she's flying, and just how the environment is. You can see the lightning. They did a really good job highlighting that. And it also kind of touches that she fell asleep, where it says Amelia Earhart wakes from her half dream. Is it thunder or is it her heart pounding in brief sudden spurts? This is where she's getting closer to her final destination. It says the 1 a.m. the friendly night became a graph of fear, a jagged line between where I am and not quite there, or sure. It's because of that storm she's getting uneasy about where she actually is because she can't really tell because of the darkness. This is where she's kind of getting closer to the water and how it's getting colder and it's affecting the airplane, because she was talking about there's ice on the wings, so that can hinder a plane's flight, how it runs smoothly, and or it can cause a lot of danger. This is where it says how close is the water's surface, and because of how she couldn't see, you can see in this picture, she is really close to the water, and it kind of catches her off guard. And what she sees to see the water so close is the waves crashing up. But in I guess in this shock, she's able to get her strength back up because of how long the flight is. She's getting tired, but the shock helps build her strength back up, wakes her up, and her levels are all up again. This is even getting closer and closer. She's at that 3 a.m. mark, and it's talking about like how she's feeling, how she's worrying, and how being alone is getting to her because all she can hear are the thoughts in her head. She has nobody talking to her, and there's no real, like, you can't really look at a watch and say, oh, it's this time. It's just a matter of where you're going to land. This is where it's she is landing. You see the cows running, and it says past where train tracks and she spies a smooth pasture. It must be here, she thinks. There's no other choice. This is where she decides to land. I love seeing the cows run. I love cows. And it says it lands with a jolt and bumps slightly and rolls to a gradual stop. This is where she finally realizes that she did it. I love the quote at the end of the page, because this is where I said she helped realize that if she made a difference in women and how we're looked at, because it says a great peace wells up. She knows she has crossed something more than the ocean. She made history, not by flying over the Atlantic, but being the first woman to fly over the Atlantic in less than 15 hours. And this is what, it wasn't just a big step for women, it was a big step for mankind as well, flying that long. This is where the farmer greeted her, and him seeing her and being shocked because it was his field that she landed in. This is what they actually did with the plane afterward. It was actually donated. It says, where is it at? It was explaining what she was. She actually served in World War I as a nurse, and she actually set many previous records for aviation, like speed, altitude, and distance. And she's written books, articles, and spoke for women's rights. But let me see. It also talks about her last flight that failed in 1937, and that was the last time they ever saw her. And on the next one, this is where it discusses how it was donated to her helicopter, or her plane was that called the Little Red Bus, was given to the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, and now it is in the National Air and Space Museum. And she actually replaced the engine in it to a smaller engine before it was given to the Franklin Institute, and it's still a big display today. I've actually seen it and it's really cool. This is how I knew it was a biography, and a really good one. First it was on the list given to us, but it also has the bibliography and the internet sources that were used. But I also like how it said it has the section included the things Amelia said, just different quotes about her. And overall, this was a really good book, and I highly recommend it. So, thank you.